The evening air was thick with the enticing aroma of malatang, a spicy street food delicacy beloved by locals. The scent of simmering broth and fresh ingredients wafted through the air, mingling with the sounds of bustling vendors and chattering patrons. Believing her dogs were drawn by these mouth-watering smells, Lynn allowed them to guide her down the lively avenues. It was a holiday evening after all, and she felt they deserved a bit of indulgence. Unexpectedly, the dogs veered toward a narrow side street lined with quaint shops, pulling with uncharacteristic urgency. Surprised by their sudden change in direction, Lynn followed, curious about what had caught their attention. Instead of leading her to a food stall, they stopped in front of an unassuming storefront with a bare window display. The dogs sat down simultaneously, their gazes fixed intently on something beyond the glass. Their usually wagging tails stilled, and their playful bark ceased entirely. It was as if they were entranced by an unseen spectacle. Intrigued by their behavior, Lynn traced their line of sight to the window. Pi, the most outgoing of the group, stood motionless with his head tilted, a quizzical expression in his eyes. The abrupt shift in their demeanor sparked her curiosity. What could possibly hold such fascination for them? She stepped closer, peering into the dusty window. The display inside was a jumble of trinkets, miniature dragon statues, silk fans adorned with intricate patterns, and old photographs that had faded with time. None of these items seemed remarkable enough to captivate her dogs so completely. A subtle thrill ran down her spine as she contemplated what might be hidden from plain view. Could there be a hidden treasure, an enticing scent, or perhaps a small creature stirring behind the clutter? Her imagination began to whirl with possibilities, some fanciful, others slightly unsettling. She chuckled softly to herself, amused by the turn her thoughts had taken. This spontaneous mystery was a welcome departure from the mundane routine her mother often accused her of leading. Just the previous night, they had argued once more about Lynn's life choices. Her mother's disapproval lingered in her mind, a shadow casting doubt on her contentment. The conversation had left her restless, and sleep had been elusive. It was only the persistent nudging of cold noses and the gentle tugging at her sleep mask that finally pulled her from slumber. Opening her eyes, she was greeted by 4 pairs of eager brown eyes, each reflecting the morning light and brimming with anticipation. The dogs were ready to start the day, their excitement palpable. After sharing a hearty breakfast, both she and her canine companions were eager to venture out. Their daily walk was a cherished ritual, a familiar route through the park, a stop at their favorite bakery for a midday treat, and then a leisurely return home. But today, Lynn felt the need for a change. The echoes of her conversation with her mother still resonated, and she sought solace in movement. Deciding to extend their walk, she aimed to meet her weekly step goal and perhaps find clarity amidst the tranquility of the park. The dogs seemed to sense her mood, matching her pace with enthusiastic strides. As they meandered along tree-lined paths, Lynn felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the ground. The dogs frolicked ahead, their joy infectious. She found herself engaging with other dog owners, exchanging stories and laughter. The simple pleasure of connection warmed her heart. She captured candid moments with her phone, Pi leaping to catch a falling leaf, May gazing thoughtfully at a group of ducks by the pond, Nan and Ju wrestling playfully in the grass. After a delightful time in the park, they ventured toward the bustling marketplace. The streets were alive with energy, vendors calling out their wares, the rich scents of spices and fresh produce filling the air, and the colorful tapestry of goods displayed enticingly. Stopping at a stall laden with an array of dog treats, Lynn allowed the dogs to choose their favorites. Ma sat patiently by her side, ever the epitome of calm, while the others could hardly contain their excitement. Suddenly, Ju's ears perked up, and he let out a sharp bark. His gaze was fixed on a commotion further down the lane. "What is it, boy?" Lynn asked, her curiosity piqued. Allowing the dogs to guide her, They navigated through the crowd until they reached a gathering encircling a group of street performers. The performers were a sight to behold, their costumes a vibrant fusion of silks and embroidery shimmering under the sunlight. Music filled the air, a rhythmic blend of traditional melodies and modern beats. A young woman danced at the center, her movements fluid and expressive, telling a story without words. Lynn felt a stirring within her, a nostalgic yearning that tugged at her heart. She had once dreamed of pursuing dance, perhaps even performing on grand stages or becoming an internet sensation. Life, however, had taken her on a different path, one defined by practicality and shaped by the expectations of others. The responsibilities of adulthood and familial pressures had gradually eclipsed her youthful ambitions. Lost in thought, she was brought back to reality by a gentle pull on the leashes. Pi was urging her onward, his eyes bright with excitement. The dogs were eager to continue, pulling her away from the performers and down another winding street. Turning a corner, they came to an abrupt stop in front of a modest shop. The facade was unremarkable, the signage worn and barely legible. The window display was cluttered with assorted items, but the dogs seemed fixated on something beyond the ordinary. Squinting, Lynn peered through the glass. Amidst the dusty knickknacks, she spotted them, a trio of tiny kittens nestled in a basket lined with soft blankets. The kittens were enchanting. One had a coat of snowy white with patches of black, another was entirely black with striking amber eyes, and the third was a ginger fluffball stretching lazily, revealing a plump belly. Their innocent playfulness was captivating, and Lynn felt her heart melt at the sight. Understanding dawned on her. Of course, the dogs were mesmerized by these adorable creatures. The concept of Kittens came to mind, the set of infantile features that elicit a caretaking response in adults, regardless of species. The large eyes, round faces, and endearing clumsiness of the kittens had not only charmed her but also enthralled her canine companions. The dogs stood transfixed. Mao whimpered softly, her tail wagging gently. Nan, usually brimming with energy, sat quietly, eyes wide with fascination. Pi tilted his head, ears perked attentively, while Juice shifted from paw to paw, a soft whine escaping him as he longed to get closer. The bustling world around them faded as they shared this tender moment. Passers-by began to notice, pausing to observe the unusual sight of 4 golden retrievers captivated by a trio of kittens. Smiles spread across faces, and cameras were raised to capture the heartwarming scene. Looks like the boys have found new friends. Who knew kittens could steal their hearts? She wrote, adding relevant hashtags to capture the essence of the scene. As she was posting, the door of the shop opened and a gentle chime sounded. An elderly woman stepped out, her eyes twinkling with warmth. Lynn felt a flush of embarrassment, worried they might be causing a disturbance. "I'm sorry if we're in the way," she began. The woman waved her concern aside with a kind smile. "Not at all, dear. It's delightful to see such genuine interest. Animals have a way of bringing people together." Lynn returned the smile. "Your kittens are adorable. My dogs seem quite taken with them." The woman nodded appreciatively. "They were abandoned not long ago. I've been caring for them, hoping to find them good homes. This shop has become a bit of a haven for strays." An idea sparked in Lynn's mind. "Perhaps I could help," she offered. "Maybe we can spread the word and find these little ones a family." The woman's eyes lit up. "That would be wonderful. Every creature deserves a loving home." Over the following days, Lynn dedicated herself to promoting the kitten's story. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Messages poured in from people touched by the story, many expressing interest in adoption or offering support. Local news outlets picked up the story, and soon Lynn and her golden retrievers found themselves in the spotlight. The narrative of unexpected friendships and the simple joys that animals bring resonated with many. Fan mail arrived, filled with treats and toys for both the dogs and the kittens. Embracing this newfound purpose, Lynn began volunteering at the shop during her free time. She found immense satisfaction in caring for the animals and contributing to their well-being. The experience shifted her perspective, alleviating the frustrations she had felt about her personal life. The pressures and expectations that once weighed heavily seemed less significant in light of the tangible difference she was making. Her mother noticed the change in her demeanor. During their next conversation, Lynn shared her journey. To her surprise, her mother listened with genuine interest. "I'm proud of you," her mother admitted softly. "It's clear that you're doing something meaningful and that it brings you happiness." Lynn felt a sense of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Mom. I feel like I've found where I belong." The dogs continued to be stars on her, but now their fame served a greater purpose. They became ambassadors for animal welfare, drawing attention to the importance of adoption and responsible pet ownership. The narrative had evolved from sharing cute moments to inspiring positive action. Reflecting on the whirlwind of events, Lynn realized that what had started as an ordinary walk had transformed her life in unexpected ways. She had rediscovered passions, forged new connections, and found fulfillment beyond societal expectations. The simple act of following her dog's lead had opened doors she hadn't anticipated. One evening, as she stood outside the shop watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of pink and gold, Lynn felt a profound sense of contentment. Surrounded by her faithful companions and the animals she had grown to care for deeply, she knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, she felt excited about the possibilities. Embracing the love and joy that surrounded her, Lynn looked forward to each new day, grateful for the unexpected turn her life had taken. In the end, it wasn't about conforming to expectations or following a prescribed path. It was about finding happiness in the connections she made and the lives she touched, both human and animal alike. Her golden retrievers had not only been her companions, but also the catalysts for change, leading her toward a more fulfilling and joyful existence. And so, Lynn's story became a testament to the power of following one's heart and embracing the unexpected. The simple decision to let her dogs guide her that evening had set in motion a series of events that enriched her life and the lives of those around her. The city lights began to twinkle as night settled in. With a contented sigh, Lynn gathered her dogs and began the walk home, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The future was bright, and she was ready to embrace it, one step at a time.